Uh-oh. I ain't seeing anything yet.
It's broke.
It's live on Facebook.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay, it's live on YouTube too. Well,
man, that shit is good.
yeah, it is.
I love it.
Welcome to the podcast about two guys who grew up in the 90s listening to grunge and pretty much overlooked everything else. Let us take you on a journey to find the music that we missed out on Stuck in My Generation. Yes, let us take you on a journey indeed. Will it be a good journey? I don't know. We'll find out. Has there been a good journey in a while? I don't know. I can't remember the last good journey.
Man,
maybe we should just do Journey.
Maybe we should. Yeah.
So, The Clash, every album, all of them, which we thought was 6, and it seemed like a great idea to do a 6-album discography. Little did we know. One of those albums was a double album, and then one after was a triple album.
I didn't even know triple albums even existed.
Apparently they do. They do. So we got the wonderful triple album, and it took us a while. It's a good thing we started doing this whole 2-week thing in between.
I agree.
Because we needed every single minute of it. So, Hicks, what is your experience with The Clash before we did this?
Not really a whole lot. I knew of just a few songs, the basic songs, "Rock the Casbah." What was the other one that was?
Should I stay or should I
go? Yeah. So I knew of those 2 songs. I remember the "Rock the Casbah" video actually from the very early MTV days. It's kind of funny. We didn't have MTV in this area yet.
Yeah.
And I had a cousin that lived in Washington, D.C. that we would go visit multiple times throughout the year. I remember she had MTV, and that's just what I went straight for.
Oh, yeah.
It was just, I couldn't have been 10 years old, but that's what I went straight to.
It's good stuff. I have fond memories.
Do you?
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine. Like, I remember Bulls on Parade. I remember being pretty young and seeing that on TV.
Yeah.
And there were some weird ones, too. I can't... Man, what the heck was that song? There was this band. Oh, shoot. Maybe it'll come to me later. But there's some shit that I didn't even like that I remember being on MTV.
Yeah.
And just, seeing it all the time. And it getting kind of ingrained in your head. Black Hole Sun, of course. That was one of those ones. I saw the video for that all the time.
Sure.
Never saw the video for Rock the Casbah.
Yeah.
But I remember being a, teenager, 16, 19, even into like 20, 21. And I liked punk from a really young age. Loved punk. Pennywise, No Effects, and then kind of backtracked to Sex Pistols and Misfits. And
sure.
And I never listened to The Clash because I had heard Rock the Casbah.
Exactly.
And I had heard Should I Stay or Should I Go?
Yeah.
And I was like, Rock the Casbah I hated. I didn't like that at all.
Sure.
Should I Stay or Should I Go was okay, but I was like, sorry, Mike. I was like, what's punk about this? Like,
exactly.
And at that time, it's about the sound for me, not the attitude, not the lyrics.
Yeah.
But I was really confused how The Clash was punk. And I admittedly never listened to The Clash because of those 2 songs. I was like, I don't care for either of them. If that's what they sound like, I don't know why I would try them, because I just find it hard to believe that I would like this band.
Right.
So enter this podcast, which is what this is all about, going back and listening to that stuff you didn't give a chance. I expected to go into this and hear nothing but music like those two songs.
Okay.
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Completely. But, you know, I was always so confused. People were like, punk started with the Clash. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know, like, so for the Clash to have that punk moniker on their name always confused me. So I was kind of excited to do this.
Yeah, I was too.
Especially since I thought it was the 6 album banger, even though it turned out to be a 9 album ordeal when you know, break down the double, triple, and all that crap.
Sure.
But did you have any other experience with the Clash before this besides Rock the Casbah and Should I Stay or Should I Go?
No, not really. I kind of felt the same way. You know, those songs, you know, when I think of punk during this time, my mind automatically goes to the Sex Pistols, which I'm a huge fan of. Love the Sex Pistols music. No, there might be some songs buried in their discography somewhere where I would think, you know, this what happened to the punk sound, but I do not know of any songs by the Sex Pistols like that. So I don't even know where I'm going with this.
I know that Johnny Rotten did some stuff. He did like some 80s new wave stuff.
Yeah,
and,
it was bad.
You know, he did some other things, but he didn't do it under the Sex Pistols moniker. So,
yeah,
you know, I've just always been confused by the Clash, and especially punk guys that are like, oh, you gotta listen to the Clash. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? So I can rock the Casbah? I don't get it. They looked punk, but
they
didn't sound punk.
They looked punk, and I kind of, after I got into a few albums, and I want to use your quote, we'll get there. I thought, my theory is that people see the Clash album covers, hear one or two songs, and believe that there's some sort of rebellious movement behind it, and kind of jumped on that train without doing the research, maybe. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't want to speak for others, but I actually started doing this. Listen, I tried to watch a documentary on YouTube, just like 30 minutes long, about the history of the Clash, and I was so confused. Joe Strummer, one of his biggest influences was Patti Smith, the album Horses, and I actually went and listened to a little bit of that album, and I thought, well, maybe they had a lot in common because both of their vocal skills were shit.
Yeah, and that is a thing too. I never cared for the vocals of the Clash, so I was worried from the get-go that I would just end up listening to something I didn't like, but I was excited to do it. But I'm glad you said that. We'll get that out of the way. Joe Strummer's vocals were not impressive to me before diving into this, so I was not expecting a lot.
And sometimes people can overcompensate with their lack of vocal skills and kind of still pull it off and bullshit your way through it.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody right now, but it just kind of, I don't know, is different. So album number 1, what did you think?
Album number 1. So again, not much Clash experience from me. You got the self-titled album, 1977 is the year it was released. Mm-hmm. And I recognized the cover.
I did too.
But I had never heard it. Janie Jones. Yeah. This album starts out, and instantly I'm like, this is actually my kind of punk song.
Yeah.
Like, this is my kind of punk song. And instantly I thought, this is going to be a contender for my favorite song on the album. Like, sure. I like this song a lot.
Sure.
So the beginning is promising. I'm like, okay, I get it. The Clash were punk.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are like, no, they are punk. To me, it's more than just an attitude and lyrics. It's a sound as well.
Sure.
And the later stuff that I had heard before this, to me, was not punk, and it's still not punk. But
it's not.
I had heard this first song and thought, okay, we're getting somewhere. Maybe I like the Clash after all. Maybe there's just a point that comes where I don't like the Clash so much.
Mm-hmm.
But this song was great. The second song, Remote Control, I instantly heard a taste of the future Clash. I was like, it's a little more melodic.
Mm-hmm.
I can see where they ended up on Rock the Casbah and Should I Stay or Should I Go. So the second song on the first album, I already heard a taste, just a little taste of experimentation. I was like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Maybe this whole album's not going to be punk.
Yeah.
What did you think of the first couple songs?
The first song, I liked it. And when the punk music that I like that thick ass bass. I like that bass sound. And it was there. So I really enjoyed the Janie Jones. Is it Janie? Janie Jones?
I think so.
Janie or Janie?
Janie Jones?
Janie Jones. I thought, I like this, and I thought, okay, this is really different than Rock the Casbah. I thought, okay, good. I feel good about this. Track number 2, Remote Control. I thought, yeah, this is okay. And then track number 3, I'm So Bored with the USA. During that documentary, the Clash were kind of bashing the Rolling Stones.
And they pissed Hicks off from the get-go.
They pissed me off. No. And that's completely fine. But track number 3, I'm So Bored with the USA. Man, I could hear Keith Richards in that song.
Yeah.
Just a little guitar parts here and there. Just a little bit of, I thought, man, I don't know.
There was some inspiration, I think, in there. I mean, it's probably hard not to be, even though you're a punk band. And
sure.
77, Stones, Beatles, they're well into it. Almost over for the Beatles.
Yeah.
So I thought that song was, that was another one I loved off the album.
Yeah.
I didn't catch the diss, but,
yeah,
I heard the sound of the song, and I thought this is, okay, the Clash so far, not so bad.
Yeah.
White Riot, another punk song, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is good shit.
Yeah.
Song 5, Hate and War, Future Clash. I was starting to get that taste of it. It's like, this is starting to get weird. You have any thoughts on 4 and 5?
4 and 5, I thought White Riot. I thought, man, this sounds like the Ramones. This sounds like the Stooges. I'm digging this, And truthfully, I came back around to this album, and I actually liked this first album better the second time that I listened to it. I felt better about it.
I did listen to this one a handful of times.
Yeah.
I let it repeat one day at work, and it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all, and I kind of dug it. Wasn't anything groundbreaking. I didn't hear anything like Sex Pistols quality. I didn't hear anything like Dead Kennedys quality, even Misfits quality. I thought, I get it. They were one of the first bands. Like, there's, if you look up historic influential punk albums, like 1977, there's a slew of them, and it's like Sex Pistols and the Clash and the Saints, which I'll get to at some point.
Sure.
And it was like, okay, I get it. Like, they were influential. They came out. I want to say this album was released, maybe, I can't remember which. I shouldn't even say it. It and the Sex Pistols album was like 5 or 6 months apart.
Was it really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. So it's like, forefather of punk kind of vibe. I get it. This is why people like the Clash. Some people liked this flavor of punk over the other flavors, so maybe that led to a lifelong fanhood kind of thing. But I definitely understand the history. And like you said in a conversation, you said, I do respect it.
Yeah.
And I do too, because it is one of the first punk albums that had some traction and went anywhere. So I was respecting it too. But I also I wasn't hearing anything groundbreaking. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it, because I did.
Yeah.
But I wasn't hearing anything like super, groundbreaking or crazy.
Yeah.
But I was happy that it wasn't always Rock the Casbah from the beginning.
Sure, yeah. Yep, I totally agree. Track number 6, What's My Name? I like that song. Track number 7, Deny. Man, this sounds like Keith Richards so much. Keith Richards' guitar sounds just little parts.
Yeah, and that song in particular, like, I heard Talent You know, I heard like a lot of punk bands just come out and they play their power chords really fast and they scream a little bit and they, you know, there's fast drums. You know, there's a formula.
Yeah.
And I feel like these guys had more than just that normal formula. Like I heard some of that Keith Richards inspired good guitar playing on this album.
Good. It was good. Yeah. Yeah. So
London's Burning. I thought that was the weakest track maybe.
Yeah.
Didn't dig that one. It's kind of back and forth on this album. I was like, man, they got talent. Yeah, they're punk. Ooh, I hear Future Clash. Ooh, London's Burning kind of sucks. Yeah. And then Career Opportunities was the 9th track, and I was like, okay, it's solid again.
Yeah.
Cheat, the 10th song.
Mm-hmm.
I heard some really good guitar work.
Yeah.
Really good guitar work. But I also didn't care for the tube sound effect. There was a spacey sound on this album, and I was like, to me, that early punk was straightforward guitar, bass, drums, vocals, wild, crazy, don't give a shit. This had a lot of, this song in particular, Cheat, had some guitar processing and some weird digital shit, pre-80s digital shit. And I was like, you know, I'm not sure about that. Like, I don't want that yet in my punk from the 70s.
Sure, yeah.
So I was weary about that. I was, and you know, it was like an echo reverb kind of weird effect, like a digital kind of. I can't explain it, but if you listen to it, you'll hear what I'm talking about, and it just it was off-putting a little bit. I was like, you know, the experimentation begins right from the get-go. They didn't make just a straightforward punk album, but it was close to a straightforward punk album. Protex Blue was the 11th track. I thought it was a little bit poppy.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't care for it a lot. Police and Thieves, poppy, and a lot of Future Clash sound on this one. I was just I was losing a little bit of hope there on this album. 48 Hours was a solid jam. Garageland was poppy, and I was fearing the longevity of how this would go throughout this process of listening to all this stuff. So it was a mixed bag on this first one. I heard that first punk album kind of thing. I heard, you know, punk in general, but I also saw the future after listening to this album, and I knew the future wasn't very good.
Yeah.
So what about you, the rest of this album? Thoughts on any of the tracks? Thoughts on where it was going, the direction?
I kind of enjoyed this album overall. Like I said, the second time I listened to it, I enjoyed it more. I was ready to see, after the first time I listened to this, I was ready to move on. I was ready to see, I was expecting growth. That's what I was wanting to see. I was expecting the gas pedal to be smashed during the second album. So overall, this album was okay for me. My question to you, will you ever go back to this album? Will you go looking for this album?
I honestly won't.
I won't either.
I won't. I mean, there's, you know, I like the Sex Pistols okay, but they also don't do anything major for me.
Okay.
Like, I like them.
Okay.
But the first band that actually did something major for me was Dead Kennedys and Misfits. Those sounds.
It's hard to beat, yeah.
Those sounds got me.
Yeah.
So yeah, this actually listening to this album, there was I looked up the Wikipedia of the first, you know, what albums came out in this year, or what albums came out around this, what started punk. And like we said on the Stooges episode, the Stooges really did start it.
Yeah.
As far as commercial, you know, mainstream, people were actually listening to this punk.
Sure.
It was Iggy and the Stooges. Like, no doubt about it. There may have been some other bands out there that came before them, but they didn't get big.
Yeah.
They didn't have records released and thousands and thousands at a minimum people hearing it. So I wanted to do some research, and I found the band The Saints.
Yeah.
And I listened to that, and the first album was pretty good, but I was like, this is good, but this doesn't exactly kick me in the teeth either.
Yeah.
But their second album, which was released in 79, I found a gem, and it was called oh shoot, I can't remember the name of it now, but it's the Saints' second album. It's a lovey title, can't freaking remember now, but that you know, it led to something. So listening to this album led to me finding something I really enjoyed. But we must go on. We must continue to listen to The Clash.
That's all right, and that's what I really enjoy about these reviews, because a lot of times it will steer a different direction, or we'll pick something else up, as you just did that, did the research and discovered the Saints and stuff. Now back to I want to move on with The Clash, but with the Saints, I know nothing about them other than a track that you sent me. Are they a British group?
Australian.
No shit.
Australian punk band, yeah.
Really?
Now, the growth there is crazy, too. I went through some of their albums, and they kind of went towards a Cure direction.
Okay.
A new wave. So, like, as the 80s and 90s.
So they're sad.
They're sad, yeah. It was a little bit sad sounding. But man, the first, couple albums, I didn't go past the first couple because we had to do The Clash, of course. I'll probably listen to the rest of the Saints at some point.
Yeah.
But I skimmed through some others. And, yeah, it was an Australian band, punk band. Lead singer seems like a super interesting cat, so I'll probably continue to research that outside of what we do week to week, in those gaps where I need to listen to something else. I don't know why. Both of us are just hitting our mics like crazy tonight. I don't know why.
I'm going to beat the shit out of this mic.
Just come on. I'm going to stick this thing up and just start doing that whole thing with it.
Talking about
Since it looks like
punk.
that.
That's punk.
Punk. This is a punk podcast. We just break shit. But yeah, I was... Again, that's the beauty of this. Like, we may not have fell in love with The Clash on that first album, but in between, we're like rechecking out Blink-182.
Yeah.
I'm checking out other albums from Brody Daly, who is like my freaking punk female from the Distillers, releasing, she had an album, Spinneret, which I sent you a track to.
That's great.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And it just it got me on a punk kick, which we were on a bit of a NoFX kick too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Great band.
Yeah, I've seen The Light.
Yeah, it's good shit.
NoFX. Oh my gosh.
Good shit.
Yeah.
But this led to that, and I'm like, okay, well, I listened to The Clash and it was moderately enjoyable. Now I'm going to move on and listen to some other punk in my breaks, and I found the Saints, which I never would have found if I hadn't have done this.
Sure.
I never even heard of them.
Yeah.
And I dug that shit. So, it was kind of sent us down the spiral, so to speak.
Yeah, and I'd like to make one comment. I subscribe to both Apple Music and YouTube Music. I subscribe to just about everything. If you have something that you want me to subscribe to, let me know, and I'll send your ass some money, because we just subscribe to everything. But I'll tell you, with Apple Music, it's just streamlined. There's no randomness. Whereas YouTube Music, if you send me something from the Distillers and I listen to a track, then it's going to take me somewhere else. It's going to send me down a rabbit hole, and I love that so much.
Yeah.
And Apple Music does not. It might do that, but the functionality that I'm utilizing does not.
Does it just go to the next, show a different track, same band? Is it?
It's pretty much, if you hit one of their tracks, it'll circle me back around to one of the popular tracks from that group.
Yeah.
And it'll kind of keep me on those tracks. Whereas YouTube Music, it's, what's this? Oh, shit. I have to send this to Barker.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's good, because it used to suck.
Yeah.
I mean, there was Google Play Music before it.
Okay.
And it was, they slowly transitioned to YouTube Music, and YouTube Music didn't have half of what Google Play Music had. And I was like, man, this is rough. Being a subscriber of a certain package I got both of them in that same package, so I was able to just kind of go back and forth. But luckily, it caught up, and yeah, there's pretty much everything on there except for, there's a few few Black Sabbath albums that weren't on there, but they were, Dio albums and shit. So I was fine. I didn't care. I didn't give a shit. I just didn't care.
Yeah.
But
and I'll tell you one more thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
you're
while we're
good.
talking about these music services, I'll tell you, with YouTube Music, if I'm going to search for The Clash, for some reason, it's going to give me, on YouTube Music, it'll give me everything that The Clash has ever been affiliated with. So if there's 6 studio albums, Apple Music will usually give me those 6 studio albums only.
yeah,
Whereas YouTube Music will give me
Joe Strummer and
there's so much.
weird stuff.
So it's confusing. If The Clash has one track on a, what the hell is this?
Sonista, I don't know. The album. Combat Rock. We'll just say Combat Rock.
So it's hard for me to distinguish what is the actual studio album and what is an album that they just have one track.
Right.
On it, so
yeah.
So I didn't mean to get off topic.
And that happens. That happens. No, you're good. What's up, James Ward? He's here.
What's
He's
up,
back.
buddy?
Let's start us out on this second album real quick.
Mhm.
I'm gonna grab a drink and look out my window. Maybe open it. It's hot in here. Start us out.
Album number 2. Give 'em enough rope. Can I have a beer, please?
Yeah, what do you want?
Just whatever. Yeah, please. Give 'em enough rope. 1978. Thank you.
Yep.
Love the title. Love the cover. 10 tracks. Track number 1, Safe European Home. I thought, this is a groove. This is pretty good. I like this. Track number 2, English Civil War. It was okay. Track number 3, Tommy Gun. I thought this was okay. Then I see track number 4, Julie's Been Working for the Drug Squad. And I was hoping that this was kind of in a Beastie Boys manner, how they just kind of threw shit out there.
Right.
Their current life experiences that just seemed real. I love this title. I did not care for this song. I was disappointed. I was expecting more.
Mm-hmm.
So the first pretty much half of this album, what are your thoughts about it?
First song, I'm with you on the name of the album and the cover of the album. The cover just screams punk album.
Mm-hmm.
Give 'em enough rope, screams punk title.
Sure.
Safe European Home sounds like a punk song, man. Guitar stands out. I noticed the guitar stood out more than anything on the last album as far as production quality went. It was polished, it was shined, and I was like, okay, I do like this sound. I like that the guitars stuck out. The drums were more recessed in the background.
Okay.
So it was a little more like in your face with the guitar, like, we're going to show you. I'm guessing the guitar talent was the talent in this band.
Yeah.
So I was feeling that they noticed that and pushed it forward. And it was still kind of punk. So I was digging that, thought it was a solid jam. English Civil War, I loved that track.
Okay.
Even though it borrowed from the Ants Go Marching On, or Marching In, whatever it's called.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah. The Ants Go Marching In or
That's
Marching
it.
On, whatever that's called.
That's it.
They borrowed from that and created a little punk jam, and I enjoyed that. I thought it was clever.
Good
And
observation.
I thought it was really good.
Good observation.
So I was digging that hardcore. Then we get to Tommy Gun. I was like, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Starting to get a little shitty. Julie's been working for the drug squad. Future Clash. I was hearing the Future Clash, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'll go through the next 3 or 4 songs before handing it over to you. The
That's all right.
Last Gang in Town. I thought it was okay-ish. Guns on the Roof. This is weird as fuck. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel about this. This is just getting weird. Drug stabbing time. Better than the last few, but still not digging it that much. Stay Free. Annoying vocals. Future Clash. I thought was lame as shit. Cheapskates. Got a little punk again.
Yeah.
A little, but I still was I had reservations. Last song on the album, All the Young Punks, kind of catchy, but it was also somber. And my final thoughts were, I didn't, their sound grew, but it grew in a direction that I wasn't fond of.
Okay.
Even though there was a handful of songs on this that I thought were solid follow-ups, especially English Civil War. I dug that song a lot.
Yeah.
But this album, I'd never even heard of it. I'd never seen the album cover. I knew nothing about it. At least the first album, I'd seen the album cover. So this second one was just a completely new experience for me. And I can't say that I loved it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was just kind of like middle of the road, almost sort of like a Pearl Jam album in the 2000s.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Just kind of middle of the road. I don't dislike it. I'm going to give it a shot, but, it's probably not going to be on rotation again for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Any thoughts on the second half of the album for you?
I chugged through the tracks, got to track number 10, All the Young...
Chugged Everclear or chugged through the tracks?
Chugged through the tracks. Track number 10, All the Young Punks. Man, the vocals on this song were so bad.
Yeah.
I thought, what is going on here? This is the opposite of growth. And I thought, man, if these guys approached me, I would not sign them. I would not. It's just not. It wasn't good for me.
No.
And the vocals, it kind of, I don't know. The album was all right up to this point, and then it kind of just bled all over. And I thought, man,
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's just
It's like you cut the Clash open and just their true sounds started to bleed out a little bit.
yeah, and just the vocals weren't there. It was bad. I don't know how they got a. I don't know. I don't want to say that.
I don't know how they got a record deal.
I hate to be
How these bastards get a
disrespectful.
record
I
deal.
hate to be disrespectful. If I were in that position during that time, I would pass on this group
Yeah. All right.
because I would be afraid my boss would fire me.
The words timing is everything is a real thing, you know?
Yeah.
And they came around at the right time
Yeah,
with the right sound,
yeah,
and just they got on the map. Which leads us to album 3.
album 3.
Got to point out that album 3, London Calling,
Mm-hmm.
considered amongst a shitload of publications as one of the best albums of all time.
Of all time.
Of all time.
Outside of the Clash discography.
Of all time. Of all time. Now, I want to disclaim,
Uh-huh.
at the time that this was released,
Yeah.
we had a changing of the guard, so to speak.
Okay, yeah.
Punk and heavy, Punk and Zeppelin and, the Beatles were over.
Yeah.
The Stones had already released a couple of their best albums, and maybe, I can't be sure of this, but maybe we're on the downswing for a
They
minute.
were going downhill.
And this is kind of a new sound, sort of, with London Calling coming in. This is maybe if I was 20 or 25 when this album came out, maybe I would have stronger feelings
I don't think you would.
about. I don't either. I can't lie to myself, and I can't lie to you guys. I'm trying to
believe
put a
you.
positive spin on this
I
shit.
know. It's hard to be disrespectful towards this group for me.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got that first album, it set the stage for a lot of albums that I would love later.
Yeah.
Because a lot of punk bands still, they love The Clash. I
Yeah.
don't know why,
I don't either.
but they do.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The first song on this album, London Calling,
Mhm.
I've always liked this song. I didn't
Yeah.
know I knew this song.
Yeah.
I just didn't know, but I heard it and I was like, I have heard this song before,
Sure.
and I do enjoy this song.
Yeah.
It's not exactly what I'd call punk, but it was like sort of alternative before alternative. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy it. And I was like, my notes just simply say I always like this song. I have always liked this song. Brand New Cadillac.
Mhm.
I thought this is okay.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jazz. It ain't no Jimmy James by the Beastie Boys. Jimmy Jazz. We had a conversation, and
Yeah.
you sent me this track,
Sure.
and I was about there anyways.
Yeah.
And you sent it to me, so I went ahead and skipped a little, forward into this track from where I was at.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
It's one of the shittiest things I've ever put in my ears.
Yeah.
And it was from a band that up to this point I was like wishy-washy on. But this song took the wishy-washy and turned it into, sewer.
Yeah.
It just became really gross at this point on this track. I was like, this is garbage.
I was
Don't like it.
I was hoping that they were mocking jazz, but I don't get the impression
No.
that they were mocking jazz.
Judging from the future, I don't think they were mocking jazz a bit.
I don't think they were mocking anything. And I thought the song Jimmy Jazz really contradicted the cover, which contains a hardcore photograph of
smashing a
smashing
guitar.
a guitar.
The cover of this album is like iconic.
Yeah, it is.
It's
And-
iconic. And by the time we get to Jimmy Jazz, I was like, why was he smashing a guitar instead of playing it at a ballroom in front of a bunch of rich elitists sipping on the finest wine $700,000 can buy?
Yeah.
This song makes no sense to me. This band creating this song makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Music scholars everywhere are just shaking their heads at us now, like disrespecting one of the best albums of all time. I don't understand who said it was one of the best albums of all time, who he got behind him to say it was one of the best albums of all time. To me, this is similar to The Big Lie. This is a big, huge lie that this album is that great, in my opinion. I don't understand who heard this and thought, again, maybe at the time that it was released, it might have been groundbreaking.
It may have been. Yeah,
I may have listened to it about 40 years too late.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been the timing. I agree.
At least thus far.
Track number 4, Hateful. This is 100% a Bo Diddley beat that has been mimicked by the Stones, but this was Bo Diddley beat with an accordion. Hey, we got an accordion. Where did that come from? Track 5, Rudy Can't Fail.
She failed.
I hate this guitar sound.
I do too.
In this song. Track number 6, Spanish Bombs. At this point, I'm walking away from this shit.
My notes say no thanks.
I can't go on at this point. I actually shifted over to some Sex Pistols and listened to a little bit of them and just tried to erase this album from my mind. And back to the one of the most influential, the greatest albums of all time. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where I would put this.
This isn't
album.
even the best Clash album through 3 albums.
It's not.
For me.
It's not.
The first one was the best to me so far. So for this to be considered the best amongst a whole lot of albums.
Oh my God.
Like one of the best of all time.
All the great artists out there, even up to 1979.
Willie Nelson rocks harder than this shit. And that's not a detriment to Willie. I love Willie.
Yeah.
But Willie literally is more punk than this shit.
It's not punk. It's not punk, and it pissed me off.
It's barely rock.
It pissed me off. Apple Music labeled this as punk. I thought, I totally disagree.
Yeah.
I don't even know what this is. And I'm going to go on the rest of the album. I didn't like it.
No. The Right Profile, track 7. Again, no thanks. Lost in the Supermarket. WTF is my notes. What the fuck is this? Why is this? What is this? Clamp Down. I don't like this. Maybe if I was born in 1960, I might have.
Yeah.
Guns of Brixton. No. Wrong and Boyo. No. What the fuck's Wrong and Boyo even mean? Death or Glory. I like this one, actually. Good jam. Okay, I found a song. Death or Glory. I kind of dug that one.
Okay.
So there's a jam there.
Yeah.
They caught me off guard. London Calling. Brand New Cadillac. Then I don't hear anything till Death or Glory that I like again. Coca-Cola. Kind of dug that one too. It was actually a short, quick punk song. And I was like, come on, Clash, keep it up. And the next song was called The Card Cheat. And I said, damn it, Clash. I asked you to keep it up. You didn't do it. Lovers Rock was next. I don't get this. Four Horsemen was next. Ugh. I'm not down. It's okay, kinda. And then Revolution Rock. It would have been okay for a reggae band, but this is The Clash. The last track, 19 tracks on this, by the way. Train in Vain.
Oh my gosh.
Vomit Inducing was the note I had on this track. My final thoughts, I'm not going to say a lot of bad things about this band because I still kind of respect it. But the album is filled. It's fucking filled. I tell you what, brother. I got me a zero-turn mower the other day and I mowed my whole goddamn yard in under 57 minutes. God dang, it was fucking awesome. Drank my Bud Light and listened to The Clash. Album is filled with styles and sounds that I imagine were kind of pushing the boundaries at that time.
Yeah.
I even admitted this might have been cool in 1979. But it is not for me in 2021.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been for me in 1995.
Right.
It's just simply not for me. So I hate to disrespect it at all.
Yeah.
But it is 1,000% not for me. James Ward says Willie Nelson used to come to Ohio during deer season and hang out with some people down around Oak Hill for the week of gun season.
Really?
That is cool as hell.
That is cool. Yeah, I never knew that.
That's
yeah.
insanely cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I'd love to be in Oak Hill and just run into Willie down at the hot dog stand.
Yeah.
I visit that hot dog stand all the time because I love wieners in my mouth. And if Willie would have been there, I could have had Willie.
wiener.
Yeah, I could have played with some Willie and had a wiener. Fucking great.
Yeah, that's
Fucking great.
nice.
By
Yeah.
wieners, I do mean hot dogs. I don't, But anyways,
That's a great story.
this album just didn't do it for me. I was mind boggled as to how this was one of the best albums of all time.
Yeah,
Just completely mind boggled.
and I like it that you said this wasn't even the best Clash album, and I totally
Not to me.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Not to me.
Yeah.
Not even close.
No.
The first album blew it away, in my opinion, because it was listenable.
Yeah.
Completely listenable for a guy that's into punk music. And I like experimental shit. I really do. 9 Inch Nails, I know we're still veering in the whole 90s thing, but that was experimental.
Yeah.
That was electronic. There's bands that I like. Joy Division was kind of weird and
Sure.
experimental and
Sure.
kind of odd, and I love that shit.
Yeah, but they were good.
They were real good.
Yeah, I love Jordan.
There's stuff that's experimental and weird that's really good, and there's
You
stuff
said-
that's not.
He used to do a good what was his name? Ian?
Oh
Lead
yeah,
singer. He used to do a good dance.
Oh,
he used
shit.
to mimic that dance.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
gonna put you on the
did.
spot now.
and I know he did that whole. I don't know about the dance, but I just remember watching the video and his eyes were just rolling in his head. He's like, lost control again.
That's it.
Lost control again.
Yeah.
And I was like, this dude's fucking weird.
Yeah.
I remember watching the video for that. Me and you
Yeah.
on the what was that? What was that conveyor belt where we put the lids on top
Skid
of stuff?
Packer.
Skid Packer. That's what it's called. Where we throw glue sticks across the thing over at fucking super redneck dudes like, "Damn, fuck, like, yeah. We used to watch some videos of some crazy shit. And I'm cool with experimental, but
Me
this
too.
is not
Yeah.
my idea of good experimental music. So I was bummed out that we had a 19-track album when I thought it was just going to be 6 simple albums. Punk at that. I thought we were going to blaze through 10 to 12 tracks at 2 minutes apiece
Yeah.
in record time.
Yeah.
And these assholes are like, no, most of the songs on this album's 3, 4, and 5 minutes. Like, what the fuck, Tool? You know?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do to me?
Yeah.
Like, take me on an hour-and-a-half journey that's not good as opposed to one that is good? Assholes. And then I read that Sandinista, or whatever the hell it's called, is the follow-up to London Calling, and it is one of those critical darlings that weren't as popular as London Calling, but it was a critical darling. 3 LP length album, song after song after song after song, and I'm not going through all these motherfuckers. I can tell you that right now. I'm not going through them because my notes say sucks. Nope. What the sweet hell is this? I hate this with everything in me. Good Lord. ZZZ as in sleeping. Is there a song I like on this fucking thing? And in the song, look here. I don't want to listen to the Cherry Poppin' Daddies. And that's exactly what this band made me do. They're like,
what did they sing? Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
oh, it was like swing shit. Like swing
It's like
music in the 90s. It got popular for like a millisecond.
Yeah.
What did the Cherry Poppin' Daddies sing? That's a good question now.
Kind of like some Zoot Suit shit.
That's it. Zoot Suit Riot. Zoot Suit
Was
Riot.
it? Okay.
Woo!
Okay.
Zoot
Yeah.
Suit Riot. Woo! And I'm like,
Uh.
even back then, I was like, fuck this music, man. What is this
Yeah,
shit?
I remember
Like,
that.
again, if I was born in 1910 and was 1935 listening to Zoot Suit Riot, I'd have been out there just fucking swinging like Carlton from Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Digging it.
Yeah.
But that's not what this is. We're in an era of punk music where this band is playing shit that sounds like a cross between the Cherry Poppin' Daddies, the Police, and God knows what else. A lot of this music sounds like the Police because they try to do this reggae thing.
That's a good observation. I noticed the reggae
Yeah.
influence.
A lot of reggae vibe, a lot of Bob Marley-ish shit, a lot of otherworldly tones. And I'm like, this is not punk to me.
Yeah.
Did people consider it punk because, they switched up their sound? They'd be like, punk on one album and then the next, like, and Joe Strummer singing in a really sorry Joe Strummer singing terribly over reggae beats.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling it, man. I wasn't feeling it at all. Some of my notes on this album, this 3 LP long Sandinista, are, is this the Clash or the Police? I don't know what this is. I don't get this. Let's Go Crazy, a track on this album, sounded like I was watching Dora the Explorer. There's just some Nick Jr. type sounds on this album. And then If Music Could Talk was a song with more sax in it than Kenny G.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
The whole thing. I just don't have anything. This Sandinista album, I have no songs on here that I liked. It was all artsy fartsy shit. And actually, I wish we could play it on here, but we would get flagged. There's a song called The Street Parade on this album, Sandinista by The Clash, and it is very clearly a Yellow Submarine ripoff.
Okay.
Clearly Yellow Submarine. Maybe it's on the next album. Yeah, it is on the next album. We'll get there. But this album, this 3 LP long thing, I literally, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this Sandinista album is the worst album I have ever heard.
It's pretty bad.
It is hands down, because of the length and because of the fact that there's not a single song on it that I enjoyed,
Right.
and the hate that I had growing in my heart on this album. I wanted to find every reggae band and line them up and slap them.
Yeah.
I was like, how dare you inspire this shit? This is the worst album I've ever heard. Sandinista, The Clash, no disrespect. I still respect them. I understand that they like the experimental sounds. That's cool. It's just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
This was the worst album I have ever heard in my life.
It's
I'd
pretty
rather
good.
listen to ICP. That's no joke. I'm not saying
Okay.
that for a laugh.
Okay.
I would rather listen to every ICP album than have to listen to this bullshit over again.
Yeah.
Bring on The Great Malenko. Bring on Chicken Hunting by ICP.
I don't even know what that is.
You will. We're going to do them.
Okay. I can't name one ICP.
It might be a fun journey to actually do that one day.
The only thing I know about ICP, I think they had a record contract with like Disney, a Disney-owned recording studio.
Island Records was one they had for a while. I don't know if that was it or not.
And they had to get out of that contract pretty quick or some kind of
Oh,
bullshit.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd rather listen to ICP. This album was terrible, and me and you had the conversation. Do you have any thoughts on this album before I talk about our convo after?
No, I don't have any
No, there's
comments.
just nothing.
No.
And that's what we talked about. Like, we're like, this is tough, and I'm like, I don't know about you, but I don't have any notes worth talking about on this shit. This is just bad.
Yeah.
Why waste a half hour of you people's time talking about how much we hated this when we could move on? So, Combat Rock, you and I knew this album. This is the album that has Rock the Casbah and Should I Stay or Should I Go? And I will say I was encouraged, not because I love those songs, because I don't, but I knew that I could tolerate those songs.
Sure.
Like, I could hear that in a car and not have to turn it off. Like, if I was feeling lazy in the car and no songs came on, I'm not going to turn them. I'm like, I don't even know what they're saying.
I don't know what they're saying either. Somebody doesn't like it. I don't know who.
It's me.
It's Jeremy.
It's me.
Jeremy doesn't like it.
Brian Higgs don't like this shit. Dum.
But I was shooting, the album title Combat Rock. I thought, man,
Here they go. They're amping up.
we're coming back, boys.
Coming to get you.
They're going to knock down that wall. Track number 1, Know Your Rights. This shit is bad.
Oh, yeah. But sadly, I've got not great, but it's way better than anything off the last album.
Yeah.
And they did that for me. They're like, you know what? I'm going to serve you up a plate of shit, and I'm going to follow that up with a plate of toast. Not buttered or jellied or anything, just a plate of dry toast. And I'm like, this toast is delicious. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
Not really, but compared to the last album, I was like, thank goodness.
Yeah, they ate shit on that previous album.
I can actually listen to 3/4 of this before I have to turn this shit off. Car jamming. again, better than the last album. Still
Mhm.
awful. Should I Stay or Should I Go? It's fine. You know, it's overplayed.
Yeah.
But it's fine. You know, it's fine. That's just it's a fine middle of the road song to me. I don't even know why it was a single, to be honest.
You're right.
But it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Rock the Casbah. I don't like it, but it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like, you know, it's going to make my blood pressure rise like the last album.
Sure.
Red Angel Dragnet. No. Straight to Hell. This is where we had some conversation because, tell them why, Hicks. Straight to Hell.
The track Straight to Hell, I recognized within the first 10 seconds. This was the kind of I want to call it maybe a loop, but the background for the song Paper Planes by, is it MIA?
I think it's MIA.
I think it's MIA.
She might have been called Mia too. I don't know. But that's a good jam. Mia, the Paper Planes is a good jam.
Great jam. And I never knew that was a Clash sample.
Yeah, and credited. Credited as a Clash sample. She didn't try to steal it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I heard that and I was like, yeah, I don't think I heard it yet. But you had pointed out Paper Planes in this song, and I was somewhere on this album but not there, and I put that on. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's not just similar, it's blatant.
Yeah.
And my exact comment to Hicks was like, I wonder if this was intentionally,
right,
you know, ripped off and credited, and you sent me a screenshot seconds later, like, credited. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
You know, and cool for her to find a song off this shitty album that she liked and make another song out of it. So there you go, Clash. You inspired the song Paper Planes, and that's great because that song's a jam.
And that's the great... Somebody had to dig really deep to recognize that, to pull that sample from that song.
Yeah.
That takes a hell of a person too.
Because it worked, man.
Yeah, and
it
I
worked
like
well.
that. I like that shit.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Really worked. Overpowered by Funk. Name says it all in this one. It's just a funk track. Adam Tan, no thanks. Sean Flynn was track 9. Kenny G again. 10, Ghetto Defend It. The Police ripped off again.
Mm-hmm.
Inoculated City, track 11, no thanks. 12, Death is a Star. We're getting into the Arctic Monkey titles here. Life is a Disco Laser something. I was like, what the fuck is Death is a Star? This sucks. Combat Rock I was excited about, and they blew it again, in my opinion. And this is their biggest selling album, of course, Rock the Casbah and Should I Stay or Should I Go? Yeah. This is a reminder that during the MTV era, singles are what ruled at that time. And things come full circle. You know, you got the singles of the MTV era starting out. And then, in my opinion, sometime after the 80s, when you get to the 90s, full albums kind of made a return. And people listened to full albums when it came to grunge and stuff. They didn't just jam the singles.
Right.
But this album was carried by 2 singles. And the rest of it, for the most part, I thought was just terrible.
Yeah, I think so too.
Of course, it was the highest selling. It had 2 hit singles. These guys, off the back of Should I Stay or Should I Go, played at Madison Square Garden. Full stadium.
No shit.
You know, I mean, it's people loved this shit back then.
Yeah.
They loved it. You know, I probably would have thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have loved it.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have loved it either. They probably bought houses off this album.
Yeah.
It's good for them.
Good for them.
Yeah.
You know, I still don't like Joe Strummer. I don't really care for his voice much.
No.
I don't quite understand the full appeal of the band, but there's a lot of people that really love it. And considering there's a lot of people that post TikTok videos like, you know, Tool fans when they hear their song come out. Buttered toast and strawberry jam. And they're just like rocking. Like, people don't understand us Tool fans for liking that shit. And that's fine. I get it.
Right.
I get it. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird shit.
Yeah.
And the lyrics make no sense half the time. And you got to decipher. And I get it. You know, it's cool. It's fine. Yeah. My buddy Ben Davis Jr. sends me memes all the time about, like, he sent me one with, you know, Christian Bale from American Psycho going, like, you know, pointing at the stereo in amazement. And in the movie, it's Huey Lewis in the News, but in the meme, it says, you know, Tool when a random air bag
air conditioner
pops, or
sound,
you know,
or
a zapper goes off, like,
Yeah.
zzz,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, it's my shit right there.
yeah.
So I get it. I get it. It's different strokes for different folks, kind
Sure.
of thing. I mean, people like mumble rap, and I think that's awful. So, you know, we are allowed to have different opinions and like different things. That's just how the world works.
Sure.
And I didn't like The Clash so far at all. I mean, there's another album to go. You know how this goes on this show, though. Me and Hicks aren't all of a sudden going to be like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, brother. When I listened to The Clash and they brought out the 24-inch Pythons on Cut the Crap, their last studio album, brother, it was Hulkamania. No. Cut the Crap also sucks. There was a couple snippets about this album that they were going back to their punk roots. I also read some snippets that the producer of the album and Joe Strummer argued the whole time over the direction of this album and what they wanted. I don't think anyone in the Clash liked this album. But what I have, again, is respect for the Clash for saying, fuck it, after this album, Cut the Crap. And they all walked away and did their own separate thing.
I don't know what that noise was I just made. It's like,
This album, there was... I'm looking through my notes, and there's just nothing. There's some Billy Idol ripoffs, in my opinion, here. There's a lot of 80s sounds. I was just glad it was over. The Cut the Crap album, it's regarded as their worst. Sadly, I don't think it is. I think it sucks, but it's not their worst. Sandinista is their worst, in my opinion. That was a 3 LP journey of pure sewage.
Yeah.
I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the Clash as a whole, but I will tell you that I was encouraged to listen to the first album and come to find that they were punk at one time.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, you know, the time and the place, the whole, you know, punk out of the gate, cool. I don't like them. I thought Sex Pistols were better. Ramones were better. Iggy and the Stooges were better. Dead Kennedys were better. Black Flag was better. Rod Stewart was better. Barry Manilow was better. Elton John was way better.
What year did the Ramones? What were the Ramones years?
I think it was 76.
Okay.
Let me check real quick. But I was definitely... I told Hicks, we really need something to kick our ass. I feel like we're on a streak of just things that aren't... The Beastie Boys really fucked all these bands. Ramones were 76, so technically you had Iggy and the Stooges, and then you had the Ramones, and I don't know if the Sex Pistols was 76 or not, 77. Technically,
77.
The Ramones and Iggy and the Stooges really got things kicked off.
Yeah.
And the Ramones took Iggy and the Stooges sound and made it straight punk, because Iggy and the Stooges was kind of a mix of things.
Yeah, it was.
There was some Bowie-like shit, some weird experimental shit, but it started out punk, just like the Clash.
Yeah.
So I have more respect for the Ramones now, too. I do like the Ramones, and I have jammed some Ramones. I haven't jammed it all. It could be a future episode for all I know.
I haven't jammed it all either.
I've only jammed the biggest hits and maybe the first album, so maybe that's in order at some point.
Yeah.
But... You know, the Clash is kind of what I thought they were. I didn't listen to them back in the day because of those songs not being punk to me. I am glad that I found their first punk album. I won't be listening to it again, but it led to me researching albums around the same time that I didn't know. I knew most of them. But like I said, the Saints were there.
Yeah.
There's some other bands I've yet to check out that were around the same era. But the Clash, it's just not for me. It's not for me. I put them... The Police did it better when it comes to that reggae and experimental rock / reggae sound. I think the Police are a better band, and I don't love them, but I didn't hate them.
Right, yeah.
So I was overall disappointed because it was what I thought it was, but at least I did discover that they had produced some punk tracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what it is. Joe Strummer went on to do some shit. You sent me something. What was that called?
Big Audio Dynamite was his
Audio Dynamite
project post.
That was some
The Clash.
funky shit.
Oh my gosh, it was bad. What I heard was really bad.
Funky shit.
Yeah. So Clash, not a huge fan. The respect is kind of there, but
it is. I mean, you know, that's for a band to come out in 77. Obviously, they were working on this album before a whole lot of punk came out.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, they were trendsetters, groundbreakers in a way. I just don't think they did it as well as the rest.
Yeah, I think that they are a link in a very important chain.
Yeah, small link.
Yeah.
And maybe they're a link in a bigger chain elsewhere for other music fans that enjoyed the experimentation and the reggae and the weird. I mean, there's a shitload of genres on their albums. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was good.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like, if somebody gave me a shit ton of instruments, like, I want you to try to fuse as many genres into this album as possible. Okay. It's not going to be good, but okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be fucking Garth Brooks and Guar mixed into one. Going to be Gwarth Brooks.
Gwarth Brooks.
Wow, got no friends in places. You know, it's going to be weird as shit. I can't promise it'll be good, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll fucking do it. Not for me.
I'm glad it's over. I'm glad.
Real glad.
I appreciate the fact that we dug deep into the Clash discography. Now we know.
Yeah. And I'm glad that we decided to do this whole 2-week thing where we get 2 weeks to jam out the bands and we can listen to what we want to in between because it's needed. You know, I just, there's no way I could listen to the Clash all week. We wouldn't have got through it. We wouldn't have got done. We barely got done as is, you know?
Yeah.
Because it was tough. It was tough. It was just not for me. I didn't dig that shit at all. I don't know what's next. Of course, you'll all find out Monday what it is. I think it is time to go. You know, Tilly, Brian's wife, suggested we need some more females in there, and I agree.
Sure.
So maybe it's Blondie or Joan Jett, or, you know, or we just dig a little bit and find out who it's going to be. But I need something different.
Yeah,
you know,
I
need
too.
You know, whether it's a female-fronted band or a different genre altogether. I don't know. I need something different. You know, this led me in a good direction. Took me down a punk path, and I'm glad because we've been rocking out some good shit because of this.
Sure.
But definitely need something else for the review. And I apologize. I told everybody that we'd be doing a first episode of TRL, Topic Request, live last Friday. Turns out we needed a week off. It came in a good place. Hicks needed Friday off. I needed Friday off. So we said, piss on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not making any money doing this stuff. It's early in the process.
Sure.
And so we didn't do that this week. So next week, you know, as long as things go according to plan, we're just going to sit in here and let you guys throw topics at us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. If there's not many of you there, which there probably won't be because, again, it's in its infancy, we've got some topics ready anyways, but we're just going to have a good time with no music talk.
Sure.
That way we can still, you know, chill on Friday, have a good time, suck a few down. By that I mean beers, not wieners. Talk about some funny shit, and then bring you the next band the following week. But I feel like there's got to be a point where we've got most of the shit out of the way, but I know that's not true.
I
know it's not true. I just, this podcast reminds me of how picky I am. I am so picky.
I'm very picky.
Extremely
And
picky.
I know you sent me a message offline. You sent me a question. Are we music snobs?
Yeah, man. I really, and I think I am. I really do. Because I don't like anything unless I like it.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to really hit me right for me to really give it proper respect.
I know. I feel the same way.
I mean, it's just got to do it for me. And when we had a conversation today, like, thank God for Hicks on this one. Like, I went into work today, and I've got it kind of made as far as work goes. I can listen to music the whole day that I'm working, and I enjoy that. Desk job, office job,
right?
Jam out music. And I get to work this morning. I'm like, man, I have no idea what I want to hear, but it's not the Clash. I had finished the Clash already, so I'm like, I'm not going to revisit that shit. And Hicks sent me a message like, what's your favorite Blink-182 song? Yeah. My wife hates that band.
Does she?
She hates them. I've got my kids liking them. Well, 1 out of 2. I'm 1 out of 3. I don't know if my oldest son likes them or not.
Yeah.
But my 7-year-old Jude loves Blink-182.
Okay.
He loves them.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy because, and I'm sure there's some people that'll hear this that'll be like, so he slammed the Clash, but he likes Blink-182. Listen. Blink-182, some of the shit didn't age well. The Enema of the State album with like all the small things and shit, I can't listen to that anymore. I just don't dig it.
Yeah.
But 2001, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, most clever album title of all time.
Sure, yeah.
It's referring to a jacket and a pair of jeans, by the way, but it's also subliminal, as in take off your pants and jacket.
Brilliant.
Like, you haven't gotten any in a while, so why don't you just take off your pants and jacket? To which I say, don't gotta tell me twice. That album, 2001 and forward, I fell in love with Blink again. They have a self-titled album I think is one of the best albums in my, it's a top all-time album for me.
Okay.
And then the last two albums from Blink-182, they lost Tom DeLonge, who's off doing his UFO shit.
Uh-huh.
And they got Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio.
That's where he's from.
Yep.
Okay,
Matt
I did not know
Skiba
that.
from Alkaline Trio, badass band if you never jammed them, but I think you did.
Yeah.
I love Matt Skiba. So those two albums are really good to me, but I jammed out Blink-182 today, and I'll tell you what, hate on them if you want. They actually are, I just think they're a good band.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're just a good band. Travis Barker's a badass.
Always badass.
I've always loved the voices, even Tom DeLonge's. Like, I like that band. I always have. That's, again, going down that punk path. Like, there's shit I like that people are going to look at as Nickelback. And Blink-182 is kind of a Nickelback-ish band to a lot of people. People are like, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I like it. So, different strokes for different folks.
Sure.
Just a little lesson there. Tool, Blink-182, I like that shit. I just do.
Yeah.
Nickelback, Dire Straits, Clash, I don't. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? If you came to hear us love everything, this is the problem with the reaction channel that we were doing on YouTube that I don't know if it's still going or not. People hated us for not liking shit. Like, dude, turn the channel. Turn the channel. If we don't like your band, just turn the channel to someone that does. Everyone else on YouTube loves everything they listen to. Go watch them.
I treat it as if I have something that I want you to eat and you don't like it, I'm not going to get pissed off at you because you don't think that this tastes good.
Green beans. Fucking hate them. And if somebody looks at me, oh yeah, fucking hate that shit. They make me gag.
See, I love green beans.
Fucking hate them.
But
are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
See? That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be. I got a story about why I hate green beans.
Save that for next week's episode.
A story about why I hate green beans. It's a good one. It's juicy. Unlike green beans. Yeah, I just don't like them shits.
Yeah.
It happens. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you Clash fans aren't too mad at us. Just didn't dig it, man. If they would have stayed on a punk path and maybe grew as a punk band, maybe they would have got me.
Yeah.
But instead, they wanted to do like da-ding, 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 da-ding. Joe Strummer can't sing. Can't sing, guys. He can't sing very well.
Couldn't even bullshit his way through it.
I don't think so.
No.
But we live to see another day, as the guy from The Waterboy says. We live to see another day. We'll figure out what we're listening to next. Join us next week, assuming we don't have anything pop up, for TRL with Barkin Daly and Chick Hicks.
It's going to be good shit.
It's just going to be random as shit, man. Join us. If you listen to the podcast and you listen to us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, join us again. The TRL live part will be on the Stuck in My Generation page. The podcast is going to be on its own separate podcast, Topic Request Live. So, you can listen to it after the fact on podcast platforms, Topic Request Live or TRL. You can watch it live the same way you watched this live, right here on these channels. So Yeah, James says if everyone likes same things, it would be boring. Absolutely. It would
Exactly.
be very boring.
Exactly.
I would not like to walk up to someone every day and be like, Blink-182, and then be like, oh, yeah, son. I like to hear that, like, they suck. And I'm like, no, they don't. And here's why. Oh, you're not going to listen to me? Okay, well, I'm not going to listen to you either. It's fine. That's how it works. So it would be boring. But we'll see you next week, next Friday. Bring the topics. If you're listening to the podcast again, please come on the live Stuck in My Generation page on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Just Google Stuck in My Generation podcast. It's going to pop up. You're going to find your source to watch it. Bring some topics for us.
Yep.
It'll be fun. We will not turn down a topic unless it's hateful.
Sure.
It can be as filthy or gross or weird or fucked up as you want. The only way we're going to say no, we're not talking about that if it has something to do with hate speech.
That's right.
We'll see you guys next time. The Clash is trash to us.
That's right.
That's all. It's just, we're sorry. Thank you for listening to Stuck in My Generation. Again, if you want to suggest bands for us to listen to, send it over to stuckinmygeneration@gmail.com.